Hey guys, welcome back. Monday Morning Briefing, episode number 143, and it is Friday, June the 20th, and we're finally getting a Monday video out to you guys. We've been really busy here in the shop the last couple of weeks. We've got a couple big projects that we're working on that we'll talk about later as we get closer to those that we're really excited about. But I've also been just working on a bunch of belts. Many of y'all might have seen if you follow us on social media and things like that. Been posting a bunch of belts that we've been working on. We've got a couple videos. We did turn out a video on taking a side of leather and breaking it down for belts in particular. Like if you have if you buy a side of 9-10 ounce leather, you're going to make some belts. What's the best way to approach that? And we cover that in that video because a lot of people will just straight edge it and then just strip it all up. Well, there's a lot of waste when you do that because you're not going to need 8 feet worth of belt leather. And then what the drop off is going to be more of that neck area. And it might not be proper for a dog collar, really. It might have a little bit too many wrinkles in it, things like that. We've done a video like that before many years ago, but it's been quite a bit of time. And I want to go ahead and refresh and kind of revisit that a little bit. Some of those other things we'll kind of do that over time as well. Just for folks that just found the channel, you may not be digging all the way through all of our content that we've created. So we want to just kind of keep that fresh because that will save you a lot as far as being able to utilize a side more efficiently. And so go back and watch that video on breaking that down. I think that was last week when we turned that one out or the week before. And then we also did a tool tip video just on end punches. As you know, we've talked about here, we got back from Sheridan. I did buy some new end punches from Bruce Johnson, and I'm loving them. They're great. It's really handy having all the sizes. But in that video, I kind of talk about the ones I've had for the bulk of my career that work on multiple sizes. And that way, because those are expensive tools when you really kind of look at it, to get all those gathered up is not really cheap. So we want to go ahead and kind of mention like what would I get if I was starting out, like just to get by, depending on what you're making. And so that's a real good video. Came out last week or this week, I can't remember. But anyway, if you go on our channel, you'll find that. And then, like I said, working on belts, working on some of those. I've got some customer belts that we're building, are making, and went ahead and did another belt video. So we've done one of those again years ago, and just refreshing that, and going to go ahead and do that because we've got the belt book now. And so we want to, in that video, I'm actually using our belt pattern book that we just came out with, and just kind of showing some of those. And I think it's just a real good video to revisit just because we all make belts. If you're a beginner leather worker, that's one of the top 3 items that a beginner leather worker will make is a belt because it's fairly straightforward. Everybody needs one. They're fun. They've got room for artwork, and even seasoned veterans in leathercraft still make a belt occasionally. Some people refuse to make belts, but a lot of people do make belts, and everybody likes them. So I think it's a great video just to kind of revisit and kind of show you my process, which hasn't really changed since we did the original belt build video. Working on some other books as well. Got one here that we're working on. It's going to help you guys with your text. So when you're putting letters and stuff like that onto leather, it's going to be very helpful. So we're working on that. Hopefully we'll have that one out. Our goal is to have it out probably next month and get that done. We've got all the drawing done for the most part, and I've just got to do all the tooling. And so we'll get that out, and we're hoping that one, and then one more, which we've kind of teased out a little bit, but we'll talk about that when it gets a little bit closer because it's a little bit further away. But we'd like to have both of those at Waco. And speaking of Waco is coming up in August, and so you can go to the Leather Crafters Journal's website and find out all the details. A lot of workshops on there. All of our workshops are sold out. Thank you for that. We really appreciate it. But there's a lot of other workshops there. They're posting that. If you follow them on social media, they're posting some of the workshops that are available there as we get closer to Waco on their social media pages. And it's going to be great. Waco's a really good show. If you guys are kind of east or in Texas and you don't have an opportunity to make it out to Sheridan or Prescott, then Waco is a good option. Yes, it's hot. It's August in Texas, central Texas. It is going to be hot, but the good thing is it's all inside, so there's AC, so you'll be fine. But come out. It's going to be a good show. We're going to be there. We'll get there on Monday and then start teaching Tuesday. We're teaching 3 classes at Waco. We are teaching the same classes that we've taught last year at Waco, simply because so many people I talk to weren't able to get in there. And so they were like, man, I wanted to really take that guitar strap class or your beginner floral class, and just couldn't get in quick enough. And so we wanted to go ahead and just offer them again, do them one more year, and that way everybody maybe get another opportunity. So Waco, August, we'll be there. We'll be talking about it more. Speaking of classes, we have posted today officially our summer class schedule. And so my beginner's floral class is one of those. That's a full day. At Waco, we do a half a day. This is a full day in the shop here in Moulton, Texas. If you're wanting to come to classes here, we're offering a few every season. So we did a spring set of classes. They went great. We had a lot of great response to that. And the folks that came, we really enjoyed their time in the shop with us. And then we've just put out the summer schedule. So that'll take us all the way through the end of August. And then I'm sure we'll have some type of fall schedule. Fall's kind of gets kind of crazy around here for us, but we will try to put in some for the fall schedule. But for right now, the summer one's up. If you're interested in taking our beginner's floral class, maybe you weren't able to get into it at Waco, this is a good opportunity. Like I said, it's a full day instead of a half a day. So we'll do a lot of beginners, foundational tooling techniques and things like that right here in the shop. And then as we get there, we are also doing the guitar strap. I'm doing one of those, offering that here. So if you've been wanting to take that one, you can certainly get in that. That is a 2-day class. And then we have a new class that we're going to do, and we're going to see how it goes. And I may teach it at one of the shows next year. We'll see. But I'm doing a custom floral belt class. That is a 2-day class as well. You'll come in and we will help you design, or we can use the patterns that we have for a custom belt, and then putting that together and doing all of that. I did it as 2-day because I can build a belt in a day, but I also have to leave time in there for teaching, right? For taking our time and working on technique. And so I don't want us to be in a rush when we're building that belt in the class. So I went ahead and made it a 2-day class. If you come in, it is an intermediate to advanced class. This is not a beginner's class. So just kind of be mindful of that. We got to build it too. So we can work on tooling techniques, but we're not going to be starting with foundational tooling skills, preferably. And so, but if you come in and you get your belt done the first day, we'll build a second one the next day. It's not that big a deal. We're here to learn, and yes, we're here to build a project, but we're also here to learn. So I wanted to make sure we have plenty of time to, where nobody's got to be in a rush. We're not under the wire. So that's posted. You can go to our website at dgsaddlery.com, click on the online store. It'll take you in there. Under the Leathercraft tab, there is a tab there that says DG Leathercraft Classes, and you can get signed up before they fill up. We did offer that to the newsletter. Those actually came out Monday, and we sent it out to the newsletter Monday to give them some time to get signed up. So some spots are taken already, but we do that. That's why we tell you all the time, be sure and sign up for the Leathercraft newsletter, because that's where we notify people first. It's just kind of a hat tip to them, and a thank you for being part of our newsletter and being such great customers, as well as you guys. We do tell y'all here on the Monday videos and things like that as well. But if you haven't already, go to dgsaddlery.com, sign up for that newsletter, and you won't miss anything. We got a lot of other stuff to get to. Classes up, Waco. We talked about the videos that we did. I've got some notes here. This is one of the first few times that I do make notes for the Monday videos. We have finally done a scrap box. We've had a lot of people call and ask, man, I just need some scrap leather to practice tooling on, or do some small projects or what have you. And you know, usually if somebody's in here and they're just like, man, I just never have tooled Herman oak, I'd like to kind of try something, I'll give them some scrap, give them a few little pieces and let them go home and, practice on tooling some flowers or whatever, and just kind of get a feel for the leather. But we do have a lot of people that call and they're just like, I just want to buy like 2 pounds, 3 pounds, 5 pounds, whatever of your remnants of the Herman oak veg. And so no reason why we haven't, other than maybe, I guess the first step was getting a box so we could ship it in, right? And making it to where it's cost effective for you. And so what we did was we ended up getting a box, and we have a 5-pound box right here. And not sure on the size of the box, but you can see about how big this is. Whatever fits in here. It may be 5/6. There may be a little bit of 3/4 in there. There may be some 9/10. We're just going to kind of mix it up, guys. I'm just going to put in there, because a lot of this stuff, it's fine. I can cut stuff out of it, but it also we only turn over so much, and so a lot of times I can make space for me in the shop if I box those up, and we can maybe move those, and you guys can get use out of them, because some of this stuff, some of these pieces are big enough to. This one here I think is predominantly 5/6. We're going to try to keep it mixed up fairly evenly, but some of these pieces are fairly big. They're not going to be, if it's good stuff that we can use, obviously we'll cut it into material packs, but there's some stuff in here that you could build a knife sheath out of. You could build a wallet back out of. We're not going to put just trash in there. It'll be decent stuff, but don't expect premium grade on everything. And there's going to be blemishes, there's going to be wrinkles, there's all that. But I try to, when I'm cutting scrap, and I've got a chunk say this big that's going to go in my scrap bin where I pull from for small projects, I will usually trim out the armpit, or I'll trim out anything that's just really trashy, right? That just looks like you'll never use it. You won't use it even for a ground seat, right? It's too thin or whatever. I'll just cut that out, and with that we do throw away. Hate to do it. Makes me cry every time. Not really, but I don't like throwing leather away. I've got a home builder friend of mine that he doesn't keep any scrap. If he wants to build anything, he doesn't even have a piece of a 2x4 at his house. He goes and buys the right amount of material to do that job, and when he's done, he burns all the little pieces he has left, and that's all. He doesn't keep scrap. For us leather crafters, it kind of feels bad to throw scrap away, because that's a product we might need, right? We might use it. One gentleman commented or emailed us and said he's got every piece of scrap he's ever had made from doing leather craft. Now, I don't know if that's a year or 10 years, I don't know. But I have heard tell of saddle makers that have boxes and boxes and boxes of scrap leather just stowed away because they won't throw it away. And it's probably no good now. It's probably got, roaches or dew and mildew and everything else in there from humidity and things like that. So, yeah, at some point you've got to throw some out. But anyway, 5-pound scrap boxes. Those are on the website. They're on the From the Cut Bench page on our website. So you can go to that page, and there's the scrap boxes on there. We will do our best to keep those in stock. We should always be able to make some of those, but I just got to I don't want to put 100 of them on there because we might not have 100 boxes, right? So we put a certain amount on there. We're monitoring that. And so if you see them sold out, just check back every other day or something, and I'm sure they'll be back on there. Or call us, just holler at us, email Robin, and just say, hey, I need a 5-pound scrap box. You're sold out on the website. She'll write it down. We'll put one together, do our best to, and do that for you. Not an issue at all. Speaking of the Cut Bench page, there are also some items on there, and I think 1 or 2 in the material packs page of some items we put on sale, like a good sale, because I just realized that we sell a blemish grade pack of knife sheaths. Every time I cut them, I fill a box of blemish and a box of good ones, or premium, what we call premium grade. The blemish are fine. You guys have probably learned that you're better off just buying the blemish, because you're going to floral tool it, you're going to dye it, you're going to do all kinds of stuff to it. A little bot scar, or a little deal here or there isn't going to affect anything, right? So many people want that leather pristine without any marks on there. It doesn't matter. Like, it's still good quality leather. It's the exact same as premium grade. The only thing they're grading for is marks. And so the blemish grades are good, but we had those, and we've sold them inside the store, and we sell them at the shows. But I realized they're not on the website, so I apologize for that. But what I did was we created a product on the website, because we have a big bin of them over there. And I asked Robin, I said, what do you need me to move? What's in those bins that's full that you're not selling a lot of, that we could cut some of the scrap into that stuff, but there's no need to, because the bin is just overflowing with those. What do you want me to move? And so she made a little list of some items that she has a lot of, and I picked 3 or 4 of them, and I said we're going to put those on a fire sale, just to get them out of her way, right? Because we got limited space in here, guys. If you've been to the shop, we don't have tons of warehouse space. So I said, well, I'll try to move those. So there's some good deals on those few items. Some of those are the Blemish Trapper 3-pack of trapper material. They're blemish grade. They're still fine. You're going to make knife sheaths out of them. The customer's not going to even notice that stuff. But we've got those on sale at a pretty good deal for 3 of those. The 8-inch rounds, for some reason, I guess I was cutting, and there was a lot of good area, and I cut a bunch of 8-inch rounds, and I cut a little too many. So she's got a decent little stack of those, and she's like, I haven't packed one of these in a week or two. So We've got those on a pretty good sale. And then the belt billets for your Ranger belts. So the little billet that you sew on, if you don't want to cut those out by hand, which I always hated doing that, we have dies for them, the 3/4 and the 1 inch. So if you're needing those or you're making some Ranger belts, we've got them in the 5.6 and the 9.10. You can hop on there. We've got a really good price on them right now. So if you want to check those out, if you're making some Ranger belts, or if you do pretty frequently, now's the time to grab those, throw them in a little tote, little Tupperware on your shelf, and then you don't have to bother cutting those out whenever you get ready to build a Ranger belt. And I think there may be 1 or 2 other things. Just go in there and check it out. I don't know when we'll turn that off, probably Monday or something, and then we'll pick 3 more things. We're just trying to keep our leather moving, because the thing we've noticed, and you've probably noticed this in your shop, leather doesn't really expire, but it is kind of a little bit of a liability because it can get stained, with something, if you got a little water leak somewhere in your shop or, whatever, fly gets on it or something sometimes, or you spill something on a bench and it runs down in there. So, leather's kind of a liability, but then also too, just the age of the leather under your lights in your shop, the light will actually change the color. And I'm sure you've noticed this. If you set something down on a project and leave it too long, when you move it, you'll see a light line, and that's from the lights. So we try to do real good management back here on that kind of stuff. And if they do get light stained in the totes or anything like that, those get shifted to blemish now because they may discolor just a little bit. You might have to fiddle with your oiling or your finish to take that away. If you're dyeing, it's usually not an issue. But if you're just using oil finish, it can cause an issue sometimes. It's not critical, but so anyway, we're just trying to be sure that we're turning that stuff over. We don't need stuff sitting around. So make some room because we are going to get another shipment in of leather before Waco. So we've still got leather we're going to cut. I know we're out of the belt material packs right now. I may throw a few more of those on this weekend. I'm actually going to cut this afternoon and get to cutting some of that stuff and go from there. We've got to cut for our classes as well. So. But we do have more leather coming. So like I said, I'm just trying to do good workshop management and keep stuff moving. So if you want some deals, they're on there. But yeah, so that's that. Real quick, I got a package in, I think it was last week or the week before, that somebody sent me. And it's from Mineral Wells, Texas, and it's Ranch RX, I guess, like prescription. But sent me a cool koozie and a really nice note. And I was kind of excited to see this because as toolers, if you're tooling long sessions and stuff, you notice sometimes you get a little achiness in your hands, muscle soreness, stuff like that. At first, I thought it said ranch rub. I thought this was another seasoning. And you guys know I love any kind of all-purpose seasonings, different barbecue rubs and things like that. And I was like, oh, sweet, this is going to... And then I read it, and I said, whoops, I'm glad I didn't put that on a steak. This is a sports medicine rub for, like, joint pain, muscle pain, stuff like that. Said in his letter, he said that it was developed for... rodeo cowboys, so rodeo athletes and stuff for that. And so we're going to give this a shot. Definitely going to give this a shot here on especially the hands and stuff. He did make a note. Be sure if you do use it for your hands, just for muscle soreness there on long tooling sessions, let it dry before you start messing with the leather because you don't want to get any of that, whatever's in here on your leather, because it probably will stain it. So, but yeah, thank you. I just want to thank him. I'm going to mention his name. I didn't know I had permission or whatever to do that, but sent me that, and I think I got a sticker in here and just a really, really nice little gesture, and I really appreciate that because that's something we don't really think about, right? Just working in the shop, you're sore, you're tired, whatever, you just kind of keep it rolling, but it is nice to have something like that you can just kind of wipe on or whatever. Maybe it kind of relieves that a little bit because not real good at taking like Tylenol or I don't really take any of that stuff. If I'm taking any kind of pain reliever, I'm in pain. I usually don't do that. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't like taking stuff. So I don't do that. But so I will try this though. I really, really appreciate that. So thank you for sending that. As far as anything else going on in the shop, guys, I've got to make a hardware order today because I just realized I don't have the one size of the D's that I need for a couple of these saddles that we're working on. Got horns done on them. I've got fronts cut out. I got riggings cut out. We're doing all that kind of stuff. I'm still working on these belts. I got a handful to do, and so we're working through those and trying to wrap up the belt build video. This is the belt that we'll do in that video. And this is the same tooling pattern. This is one out of our belt book, but this is the one I did on the Wildlife saddle a couple years ago. And I ended up making one for myself as well. Went ahead and tooled one up just because I've been wearing the same belt for about 3 years now. So I thought time to make a new one. So I thought it'd be neat to go ahead and make a belt for each show saddle that I build every year. So a belt that has the tooling pattern that I did on that year's saddle. And so this one will be my belt for the wildlife saddle. I'll do one for the one that we did last year, the broadleaf saddle. And then I'll also do one at some point for the saddle we built this year for the debut. And so I think that'll just be kind of cool because the saddles are for sale. So at some point I won't be the owner of them anymore, but at least I will have something to remember the saddle by as far as what it was tooled like, and maybe my kids would appreciate the belts at some point when I'm gone. They'll have those and be able to tell that story. I thought that'd be kind of cool. So if you're out there building saddles, it'd be kind of neat. Every saddle you build a belt with whatever tooling pattern you used. And I know that over 30-year period of building saddles, that might be a whole wall of belts in your house, but it would be kind of neat to have one belt for every saddle. And I don't know why I didn't think about that, because that would have been really cool. But anyway, we're too late now. We'll start now. We'll start doing that now. I'm not going to go back and build all those, but just something to think about. But yeah, so I'm going to work on that, work on this big project that we're working on. It's going to be interesting. That's all I'll say. It's going to be really interesting. It's going to be great for y'all. Hopefully, you never know on this stuff, but hopefully it is. But anyway, real quick, Lost Trade podcast. We had posted on social media just kind of a deal out there about the podcast and shared some of the episodes, just a handful of folks that have been on the podcast before, just to kind of remind people we do have a podcast, and it worked. It was great. Sometimes you got to revisit stuff and repost stuff, guys, because on social media, a lot of times it's in and out. You don't remember stuff. So there's nothing wrong with posting things twice if you've got a belt that you're trying to sell or a project you're working on or whatever. There's nothing wrong with repurposing that content over a month, like once now and then maybe a week or so later share the same post again, because people miss stuff. But we try to do that, try to stay in the forefront there. And so we mentioned the podcast, and we did have somebody that commented that they weren't aware we had a podcast. So that's why we do that. So we were very excited that we let them in on that, let them know. We've had, Steve Van Plu and Claire Kerberg, Pedro Pedrini, and Paul Van Dyke. That's just kind of a few of the most recent ones that we've had come out. We're working really hard now with Robin, and another friend of ours is going to help us here and there. We're trying to get a lot more consistent on our social media, on our YouTube channel, especially to get more consistent for you guys, and our podcast. And we're getting serious about that and try to get everything to where they're coming out on a normal basis. And we just did an interview yesterday. I've got one, I'm supposed to have two this week, but I had one canceled on me because of some illness, just a little bug. And then we've got one next week as well, and we've got more we're getting scheduled up. So we got some really cool people coming on, but really enjoyed the episode with Steve Van Plu. And if you haven't heard that yet or didn't know we did one with him, go check that out. It's really cool. He's got a neat little leathercraft journey that he's on, and the impact he's having on the leathercraft industry as a whole is really, really good. And I like Steve. I get along with him really well. I think he's really good for leathercraft in general. So go check that out. And real quick, guys, I just wanted to mention we're about to hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. We're at like 98,900, I don't know, somewhere around there. That's just crazy to me because we've been doing this a little over 10 years, I think, on YouTube. I don't know how long it's been. But that's, for our industry, I feel like that's a pretty big deal. I haven't really paid attention to those numbers. I don't really dive into the analytics and all that stuff with YouTube. But when you start getting to a number like that of subscribership, it's kind of interesting. And so I don't know what all that means. I think YouTube sends us a YouTube button whenever we hit 100. That's what I've heard. But anyway, we're getting really close. And it's a little cool milestone. It's going to be neat to see that number change. And so just wanted to kind of make a mention here. I usually never push, hit the subscribe and all this stuff on YouTube. But if you know somebody that follows us and watches our channel and stuff, just, remind them to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that, man. Be a part of trying to help us get across that line there, because we're really close. I don't know when it'll happen, or, I can go in there and see about average how many subscribers we gain a month and stuff. But we try not to concern ourselves too much with that stuff. We mainly just try to focus on the content, focus on the products that we're building for y'all that are helping you and adding value to your business and to your craft. So, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that, but I did want to mention it because I think it's cool. And I'm sure we'll do something really cool when we hit 100,000. I don't know what we'll do, but I'm sure we'll do a commemorative video of some sort. We'll do something fun Of course, it'll involve leather in some way. So that'll be kind of fun. So, but anyway, just wanted to mention that here. If you haven't already, be sure to go to dgsaddlery.com, sign up for the Leathercraft newsletter, and be sure and check out those classes. If you want to come to the shop, hang out, and do something cool, make something neat in our shop, and hang out with us for a day or two, then be sure and check out those classes. Otherwise, we'll see y'all next week in the Monday morning briefing.